everyone, I'm Melanie Brown and welcome to Mel's Kitchen. Tonight, I am going to be making Salisbury steak. And the reason I'm making this Salisbury steak, it was a special request from a special little girl named Harper. Harper apparently loves her school Salisbury steak, so she had requested that I do a video showing you all and herself how to make Salisbury steak. So come on along. Alright, so the first thing I need to do to make this Salisbury steak is chop up, finally, half of a red onion. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is, I have one very large red onion here, and I only need half of it, so I'm going to cut this, peel it, and finely chop half of this red onion. So I'm going to start by cutting each end, removing those. Set them aside. I'm going to cut it down the center. Remove that skin. And as I said, I only need half, so I'm going to put this half aside and I'll use it for something else. So I'm going to do what's known as a rough chop. Because I want this kind of minced, I'm going to slice it very thin, rocking my knife, keeping the tip on the board, and my fingers back. So when I get to this piece, I'm going to be very careful not to get my fingers and cut down through it. Now, I'm going to take my onion and stack it, and very quickly I'm just going to chop through it. Always keeping that thumb tucked in and your knuckles curled. That can never entirely prevent you from cutting yourself, but it sure does decrease the chances. And again, this is a rough chop, so I'm just going over it really quickly. I probably don't even need all of this onion because that's a lot of onion. And I only have about a pound of meat to work with tonight. So I'm actually probably going to save these few slices right here as well. Set them to the side. And so the thing about Salisbury steak is it always has quite a few onions in it. That's just kind of what makes it what it is. So I'm going to do a rough chop over top of this. You can put this in a little food processor too if you have one. You don't want to do all this chopping. You don't really have to cut them this fine if you don't want. If you like it chunkier, go ahead and keep it chunky. I like to mince them up because my kids, they like the flavor of onion in food, but they really don't want to bite into a big piece of onion. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got a pan heating up. I've got just a small amount of oil in there. It's maybe a tablespoon at the most of a vegetable oil. And I'm going to use that to saute up our onions. So here we go, in the pan with the onions. Okay, as you can see, I've got these onions sauteing up. They're looking pretty good. See them sizzling there. Doesn't take long. They're almost there, just a couple minutes more, and they'll be ready. Alright, so our onions are looking pretty good. I would say they're about ready. They're nice and transparent and almost wanting to turn a little brown. And that's just what we're looking for. Alright, so to my bowl here I have in my bowl here, rather, I have about a pound of ground beef, and to it, I'm going to add the onions that we cooked. We sauteed them up, and they're going right in there. Now, with this, I'm going to add some salt and pepper. You season it generously, probably roughly a teaspoon or so of salt. That's just an estimate. A little black pepper, maybe a little less of that, about a half teaspoon. We're going to do 1 egg. These are I have farm fresh eggs. I raise my own chicken, so have a nice fresh egg to go in here. I'm going to crack it in this dish first. Always do that. Just make sure the egg is good, and also to make sure you don't get any shell in there. So in that goes. And then these are just plain breadcrumbs, and I'm going to do probably about a cup of the breadcrumbs. And then I'm going to get in there with my hands and just mix this all together. You don't want a lot of breadcrumb. The breadcrumb just kind of works with that egg, and together they kind of form a binder to help keep your patties together. So we're going to mix this in. Your hands are your best tools in the kitchen. Many a times, you know, it's easier to use your hands than it is a spoon or a spatula. Just make sure your hands are super clean. I always wash my hands before I get in the kitchen. Before I start doing anything, first thing I do is wash up. Alright, so normally I would make much more than this, but we used part of this meat last night to make hamburgers, and this was the extra. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to just make 4 patties out of this. So I'm going to split it down the middle and quarter it. Like I said, normally I would do a bigger amount. So I've got this portioned out, and I'm just going to shape it into a patty. You can make it kind of nice and flat, give it kind of a nice oval shape, pat it down there. And over here beside me, I have that pan that I sauteed the onions in, and this patty's going to go right in that pan. So I'm going to do one more like this. And then it too will go in the pan. Alright, you can see these are in the pan. You can see them sizzling here. I'm just going to let them sear on that side, flip them, sear them on the other side till they're nice and brown on both sides. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2 patties the same way. Alright, so our patties are looking pretty good. You see how they're nice and brown and crusty? That's exactly what we're going for. I'm going to put them in my baking dish, and then I'm going to show you how to make the gravy for them. Alright, so I've got the patties here. As you can see, this is what we're going for. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and make this gravy. So in my little saucepan here, I've added a couple tablespoons or so of butter. And I'm just going to let that melt in my pan. What we're doing is we're going to make a roux, which is basically a fat and some flour cooked together to create a thickening agent for gravy, sauces, etc. So, of course, today we're making our gravy for our Salisbury steak. I'm also going to make some mashed red skin potatoes to go along with that Salisbury steak, so we'll have some extra gravy here for our potatoes as well. So melted that down. I'm going to go ahead and add probably maybe 1, 2, maybe I'm gonna guess about 3 tablespoons or so of flour, maybe 4. You know, I really eyeball most of the things I make, and it's been kind of a challenge for me because I'm trying to figure out measurements for you all, because it's just not something I normally do in the kitchen. I've gotten comfortable with just being able to wing it. So I'm practicing and I'm hoping to get better at this. All right, so do you see it's kind of blonde looking now, a light color. So I want to cook this just a little bit, and it's going to get that raw flour. It's going to get the rawness out of the flour. It's going to cook that flour up. You'll see it start to bubble just slightly, and that's what you're going for. Okay, looking nice and bubbly good. So I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And then what I have here is just some regular old beef broth, store-bought beef broth. Clearly you can make your own, but that's a whole another process that we want to get into today. So I'm going to pour this in and whisk vigorously as I'm adding it. I'm going to start right there is about a cup. I'm going to get that combined together till it's nice and smooth. Very quickly you'll see it start thickening up. You can probably see it already. Okay, I'm going to slowly add in about another cup. And then what I want to do is bring this up to a boil and allow it to thicken up and make our gravy. So I'm also going to go ahead and add a little salt to this because mine doesn't have a lot of salt in it. That beef broth is low sodium. I'm also going to add some pepper. And then we're just going to let it go. Okay, as you can see here, our gravy is bubbling up pretty good, and it's gotten nice and thick. It's not super thick. I didn't want to get it too thick because what happens is you put it in the oven, and the heat from the oven tends to evaporate some of the liquid that's in there, and it tends to dry out. So I try to do a little bit thinner rather than thicker on this type of gravy. Also, I would like to tell you, if you're not comfortable with making your own gravy, or it's just something you need to maybe save some time on, you can use a good jarred gravy. There's so many out there. Use a jarred gravy or a package if you need to save some time, but really nothing beats homemade gravy. Alright, so I've got that gravy all done, and my meat is right here in the pan. I got 4 nice sized Salisbury steaks out of that, out of a pound of meat. And I'm going to go ahead and pour that gravy over this meat, and then we're going to cover it. We're going to put it in a 350 degree oven and let it bake roughly 30 minutes or until cooked through. So I'm going to go ahead and let you see here what we've got going on in the pan. Angle it back here for you. And then I'm just going to take this gravy and cover the meat with the gravy. Just like that. I'm going to reserve just a little bit for my mashed potatoes later. Okay, so now I've got my aluminum foil. I'm just going to cover the pan, put it in the oven, and work on my mashed potatoes. So I've got the Salisbury steaks in the oven, and I have already washed my red skin potatoes, quartered them, covered them with water, and I've got them cooking on the stove right now. So while those are cooking, while the steaks are in the oven, we're going to talk about the mashed potato and about all the different things you can do with mashed potatoes. Everyone's had mashed potatoes. I mean, it's pretty much a standard side dish, but you know, there's so many other ways you can make them besides just your traditional mashed potato and gravy. I am going to have gravy with mine tonight because it's Salisbury steak and gravy. But, I mean, you could do a cheddar bacon mashed potato. You could do a garlic red skin mashed potato. Add a little chopped garlic or granulated garlic to it. You could also do maybe try using a little bit of buttermilk instead of milk in your mashed potatoes. You would get a little bit of a tangy flavor. You could also do that by adding some sour cream in there. Really, the options are just endless. The way I'm going to make my mashed potatoes tonight is the way my mom always made them. And my mom always made them using evaporated milk. That was just her favorite way. And it does give them a unique, rich flavor that's different from using regular milk. I've made them many a times with heavy cream, and that is really good too. You get like a really rich, creamy mashed potato. But tonight I'm sticking with what I grew up on, and I'm making them with the evaporated milk. Man, is it smelling good in here, guys. I just took a peek at that Salisbury steak, and it's almost done, but probably give it about another 5 minutes or so. In the meantime, I'm going to work on my mashed potatoes. So down here, I've got some parsley that I've chopped. I brought the bowl over here, hoping that you'd be able to see a little bit better. The mixer's over there behind me. So I'm going to tilt it down. We'll see. There we go. All right, so I've got my potatoes here that I have drained off, and I'm going to dump them in my bowl. To that, I'm going to add half a stick of room temperature butter. It's already soft. I'm going to say about a teaspoon or so of salt. You can do salt and pepper to taste, but I'm going to guess about a teaspoon or so, maybe a half teaspoon of pepper. What you do is you add a little bit, whip these potatoes up, taste it, and if you need it, add a little bit more. Hopefully you can see that hot steam coming off of there. To this, I'm also going to add a little bit of evaporated milk. Like I said earlier, this was one of my mom's favorite things. So I'm probably going to just pour in, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a cup. I'm just guessing. I'm going to take it over here to my mixer and whip them up. If I need to add a little bit more, I will. It's easier to add more than to take it out. So start with a little. If it's too thick and you want them a little thinner, add a little bit more milk. Okay, I've got those potatoes all whipped up, and take a look at this. Man, do those look good. Creamy and yummy. Alright, so I just pulled those Salisbury steak out of the oven, and boy do they look good. And these creamy mashed potatoes, they're going to be so good together. Alright, and there you have it. Salisbury steak and mashed red skin potatoes. Look at this plate of food. That looks so good. I can't wait to have a bite. Let's just see. I'm going to take a little bite of the steak and the potatoes together. This is so good. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you like it, share it, And please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. And Harper, this is for you, so I hope you enjoy it.